put on this. Lovely. Right. Thank you for coming. I know it's a little bit of a weird time in between Christmas and New Year. Some people have plans, some people don't. Some people just switch off. So thank you for turning up, and it's not just me and Claire talking to each other. We do appreciate it. So tonight's Zoom or training is all about goal setting. This is probably one of the most important, because if you don't have a goal, how can you plan the rest of your business? Like, how do you know where you're going? Literally, it's like literally like getting in a car, not knowing where you're going and just driving around aimlessly. Your goal is your destination, and you then need to work backwards on a plan on how to get there. So it's really, really important to set goals, massively important. I do have notes because this is quite, it's quite a big subject to cover, and I didn't want to sort of go on a massive tangent like I normally do. So Claire's already wrote this in the post, but I wrote this in my notes actually. So it's quite common stats that only 3% of adults have written goals. And if you write your goal down, I can't see or hear anything. Anna, you might need to go off and come back on again. It will be to do with your, you need to connect to the sound on Wi-Fi. I think, is it cellular and Wi-Fi or something like that?
Yeah, Wi-Fi data, I think it says when it comes up.
Hold on, she can't hear anything. I'll have to type it.
I'll type it, Emma, you carry on talking.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Donna can't either. Donna Marie, you can hear me, can't you?
Yeah, I can hear you both, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Right, I'll let Claire sort that out. Yeah, so only 3% of adults have written goals, and those who write those goals down are 42% more likely to achieve them. And going even further than that, if you then tell somebody your goals, you are 78% more likely to achieve them. So it's really, really important that you not only think of a goal, Marie's in the waiting room. Not only think of what your goal is, but you write it down. And if you can, you tell somebody, because it 100% makes a massive difference, because it literally makes your brain more accountable because you've actually said it out loud. And, as human nature, we don't like to not achieve things that we've told people we're going to achieve. So we tend to work harder when we've told somebody what we're going to do. So for me, so I thought about this, and I was watching a training that Laura did last year. Well, it was this year, actually. It was in January, about goal setting. I watched it, rewatched it, and had a look at a few bits while I was writing my notes. And for me, goal setting is a lot about mindset, as well as, the physical aspect of strategy and, how to get your PRV and everything else. Most of it is about mindset, because if you don't believe that you can reach the goal, you ain't never going to reach it. You're just not. You can write it down as much as you want, but you do have to believe. Your brain is really, really clever, and your brain is there, and its sole purpose is to keep you safe. And if it thinks that you're going to do something that's not going to keep it safe, then it will do its best to, hold on, sorry, I'm getting really distracted because everyone's trying to come back in the waiting room. It will do its utmost to stop you from doing something. So you need to believe that you can do something, so that you're tricking your brain into thinking that you can. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but it genuinely is right. Your brain, it's like the most clever muscle that we have. It really is. And you always hear that phrase, what you focus on, you feed. And so if you continue to focus and visualize your goals and your dreams that you want, you will 100% reach it, more so than if you think about not being able to do it. Because that's literally what your brain will focus on. It will focus on whether it's negative or positive. Doesn't matter which one it is. If you're focusing on the negatives, it will consistently focus on the negatives. If you're focusing on the positives, it will consistently focus on the positives. And mindset is not something that I looked at or practiced or had anything to do with until Laura Sawkins did a live into a team group that I was in my previous company. Claire was there, Marie was there too. And she introduced me to mindset. And I'm going to read a paragraph from a book that Laura read to us in that training, because that, don't worry about it, I know. Oh, you can hear us. Yay. That paragraph that she read out of this book on that live that she did into the group, 100% is the reason I joined Sensei. 100%. So I wanted to read it today because it resonated with me. It's completely changed my life. And I wanted to read it to you guys and to see whether or not it resonates with you. So the book is The Magic. And you're probably thinking, what the hell has this got to do with goal setting? But what this has got to do with goal setting is, it's the practice of gratitude. And if you practice gratitude, your mindset will 100% shift to a better place. And I literally was like, where the hell's this book? I was like, I need to find the book. And I was like, I need to find the paragraph. But it's 100% probably one of the biggest changes that I've made in my life since I joined Sensei. And it was down to this paragraph in this book that Laura read. And I will 100% be grateful forever for that, because it literally has changed everything, and not just with Sensei, but with my entire life, the way that I look at things, the way that I deal with things. Don't get me wrong, I ain't perfect. You know, I have days where I'm like, I can't deal with stuff. But 9 times out of 10, I can. And it's because I practice gratitude and my mindset has shifted. And like I say, it's to do with this. So I'm going to read it to you. So, if I can. The lighting's not that great in here. Bear with me. How can it be that a person who is born into total poverty, starts out with nothing and has very little education, goes on to become a president or a celebrity, or builds an empire and becomes one of the wealthiest people in the world? And how is it that 2 people can start out in the same career, and yet one person's career goes from success to even greater success, while the other person works himself or herself into the ground, with little success no matter how hard they try? The missing link to success is gratitude, because according to the law of attraction, you have to be grateful for what you have to attract success to you. So without gratitude, it's impossible to have permanent success. And for me, that is what I said about the brain. It's about what you focus on. If you focus on the negative, you will breed more negativity. If you focus on the positive, you will breed more positivity. That literally is what it is. And being grateful is one of those things that will put you in a positive mindset, because we really should be I mean, this resonated more so with me when my friend got diagnosed with cancer, and I've spoken about this a lot. This is something that I speak about quite regularly because it had a massive, profound effect on me. And when my friend got diagnosed with cancer, my gratitude changed from being, you know, and I'm always grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for my friends, and I'm grateful for the things I have around me, but that's material stuff. When that diagnosis happened, I started to become really grateful, and I mean down to my core grateful for my health, for the fact that I woke up in the morning, for the fact that I was breathing, for the fact that I could walk, you know, that those sorts of things. And when that happened, it just shifted, because you then don't sweat the small stuff, because it's so much bigger than that. And you know, people look at me as if to say, oh, for God's sake, like, what are you talking about? Like, Chris does it all the time. But it's true, because we are these tiny little things in the universe, and we literally sweat the small stuff. Like, we argue over petty things. Like, Chris will tell you now, we'll have an argument and I'll be like, I'm not arguing about this anymore. And it's like, what? I'm not doing it. It's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, there are bigger things going on in the world. Why are we arguing about this stupid thing? And I literally just stop. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And that's taken a lot of practice, might I add, a lot of practice. But it is very true. And you know, as soon as you start to think that way, and bearing in mind, I write this down every day. I write my gratitude every single day. I write 3 things that I'm grateful for every day. And sometimes they change, but they're normally pretty much the same. And you know, as soon as you start to do that, you start to think about the world in a different way, and you start to be more positive, and you start to react to things in a different way. Like, this is going to sound really weird, but the biggest change that I've seen in myself is road rage. I'm not even kidding. I was horrendous when I was driving, really bad. Like, like effing and blinding at people, like really bad, really bad. And literally, since I've been doing my mindset stuff, so much better. I can't even tell you the difference. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And I thought about it the other day, and I was like, oh my God, like I literally don't kick off in my car anymore. And it sounds really stupid, but it makes me feel better because actually I just think, you know what, it is what it is. That guy's clearly having a bad day. And I just go on my day. Literally, honestly, it's like the biggest change. So if you want to grow your business, you have to grow yourself first. You will not have a successful business if you don't grow yourself. And that can be many things. You know, you want to read personal development books, please do, because they are flipping amazing. Not every book will resonate with you. I've started books and not finished them because they're not great. You know, I've read books more than once. This is the book that Caroline is doing on a book club. I've read this twice. I'm going to read it again because it's flipping amazing. You can get this for like £2 used. Yeah, you can get this £2 used on Amazon if you can't afford it new. I think it's like, it says £9.99, but I think I paid like £5 for it. I did buy it new, but it wasn't that massively expensive. But 100% doing things like this will help you to grow, which will in turn help you to grow your business. Because if you're not being negative, and bearing in mind, we are only ever negative to ourselves more so than anybody else. Like the way we speak to ourselves is just horrendous sometimes. You know, inside your head, that voice inside your head that talks to yourself. You know, we're horrible to ourselves. We really are. Like we wouldn't say those things to our kids or to our friends or to our family. So, you know, you need to be kind to yourself. And, you know, if you can do that personal development and you can grow yourself and pour into yourself, 100% your business will have it will have a massive impact on your business. I promise you, because it has with mine. Like, I can't even tell you, like seriously, massive impact. Because I just don't react to things anymore. I don't have things like, I have removed customers from my group because they're not very nice. I have, because normally I'd be like, oh, I need the PRV, I need the PRV. But you know what? No, I need my energy more. Like I have to protect me and my energy more so than getting the PRV. I'll find a new customer. So I genuinely have removed customers from my customer group because they don't serve me, because they're just not very nice. And I'm not putting up with that. I've removed friends, I've removed family from my life because it doesn't serve me. It's the negative energy, and I can't have that anymore. And we have one life, just the one. We really do, and it is very short in the grand scheme of things. And you know, why would you put up with stuff that doesn't serve you? You know, ultimately that is what happens when you grow. You end up making those decisions to make your life better, and that is 100%, you know, what you do need to do. And it's scary because, you know, telling people that you don't want them in your life anymore, a little bit scary. But my God, the relief that you have when those things are lifted is like amazing. And you will 100% know it's the right thing when it's been done, because everything will feel better, everything will feel lighter. You know, you'll be able to take action more in your business because you'll feel like it more. You won't feel down or depressed or low, you know, you'll just feel better. So yeah, grow the business, grow yourself, grow the business, focus on you, pouring into you, whatever that may be. Like for me, it's getting up early, it's having a coffee in complete silence, because it's just amazing. And I read and I do my gratitude. That's what I do. I do it every morning without fail. I do it on holiday, I do it at home, I do it when I'm away, I do it everywhere. Like literally, my gratitude book and my whatever book I'm reading at the time goes with me everywhere, including my glasses because I can't read without them. So if I forget my glasses, I'm like that, trying to read. So yeah, that's what I do. Some people go for a walk. I do that too. Some people have a bath. Some people, you know, whatever it is that you need to do to help calm yourself and you know, get yourself back to some sort of normality, do it. Because 100% you cannot pour from an empty cup. And that has a massive impact on your business and your goals. So that's what we're here to talk about. Right, I'm going to look at my notes because I'm going to go off on a tangent and my throat's dry. Okay, so your goals are going to be personal to you. There's no point setting a goal that you think should be expected of you. There's no point setting a goal that you think I think you should make or Claire thinks you should make. This has to be a goal personal to you. Because you're the one that's got to make it, you're the one that's got to reach it, and it's got to mean something to you. Because if it doesn't, you're just not going to bother. 100%, you just won't bother. So it's really important to really think about what it is that you want. Let me have a look. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's personal to you, and it's up to you what it is that you want. So 2024 is a brand new year, brand new chapter in your life, and it genuinely is up to you how it goes. And I know some people go, yeah, no, but things happen. Yeah, things happen. Like, think really bad things sometimes happen, but it is up to you how you choose to deal with that, and then how you choose to then continue. Me and my friend were having a conversation about this. We were having a conversation about death, as you do. And we were talking about how people deal with it, and everybody deals with it differently, don't they? Everybody. I'm very matter of fact, like really matter of fact. And for me, don't get me wrong, I grieve and I get upset and I cry and I do what I need to do, but I then get on with it because that is just who I am. I take after my dad. My dad's very much the same. And for me, I know the person that's passed away doesn't want me to sit there and mope and cry and constantly wail. So I get on with it. And that is just what I do. That's not say that's right or wrong, but that's, that's what I choose to do. People that choose to dwell on it and use it as an excuse to be sort of, where is me? We were talking about someone specific. I'm not going to name names, not that they're a sensory consultant, but that's not the point. And, we were very much like, it's a choice. And it is a choice. Grief is horrendous, don't get me wrong. And, it's everybody deals with it differently. But you do have a choice on what you do next. And whether you decide to live inside that grief and completely let it consume you, or whether or not you decide to move on. And it's very similar. You have a choice. Everything that you do, everything that happens to you, you have a choice on how you react to it. And some people can't get their head around that, but it is so true. It really is so true. And I've had a lot happen to me. And at one point I was not reacting very well to it, and hence why I've got anxiety, and hence why I deal with things the way I do. But I now know what my triggers are, and I now know how to deal with it properly. And and that is a choice. It is a choice. Like, my anxiety can take hold of me, but I now have a choice on how I then let that kind of manifest. Like, do I just let it take over, or do I think, you know what, no, I'm not letting that happen? And I've got better at doing that. And again, it's a choice. And I can turn around and say, no, it's my anxiety, can't help it, I can't. And I used to say that all the time, and Chris was like, you've got to stop saying that, because you're letting it take over. And it's right, I was letting it take over. I was using it as an excuse. So you 100%, you can choose how your year is going to go, because only you can do that. I can't do that for you, Claire can't do that for you, Laura can't do that for you. You have to choose what you want. And if that, and it really is up to you. Like, if you just want 200 PRV every month, that's perfectly fine. But if that's what you want, then let's get it. If you want 1,000 PRV a month, that's absolutely fine as well. And we'll help you get that too. But you have to decide what it is that you want, because if you don't know, we can't help you. We genuinely can't help you, because you're just going to be all over the place, and we're not going to know what you want or how you're going to get it. Okay, right, I need to take a breath. It's getting really hot in here. I've got my heater on and it's over there, and I can't switch it off because it's over there.
You literally like saying everything that's already in my head. I love it. I love this kind of stuff.
Because we're so alike. I'm really gonna have to switch the heater off. I'm sorry, guys. I'm absolutely sweating.
Annie, I'm just reading your message.
Sorry,
it
I'm not
comes to
reading the
grief,
comments.
I choose
Apologies.
to celebrate that they lived and were part of my life rather than the fact that they died.
Oh, I love
100%,
that.
babe.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely
brilliant.
100%.
Such a good
Celebrate the
way to look at that.
positives.
But at the same time, people that want to grieve for much longer than some people do, really their choice. Like I've got a friend who's lost a dad recently, a friend who I work with, and she said to me, she was like, I feel like people are thinking I should have moved on by now. And bearing in mind, she's still going to work, she's still living her life, she's just getting upset quite a lot still. And I said to her, I was like, do what you want. I was like, if you want to carry on crying, you carry on crying. Like, you do you. Like, if that's what you want to do, you crack on, love. Like, don't let anyone tell you how you should grieve. Like, that's all kinds of wrong. Like, you have a choice, don't get me wrong, but if that's her choice and she wants to continue to cry, then you crack on. Like, that is what you want to do. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Not here to talk about death. So a lot of the goal setting is about sticking to it and taking the action to stick to it. And the only way you're going to stick to anything is if you know why you're doing it. And you'll hear a lot of us talk about your why and why you're doing something, and it's actually really important. People always look at it and be like a bit icky, like, oh, I don't want to talk about my why. But actually, it's probably one of the most important things in network marketing, or any business, actually. Any business, doesn't matter what it is, traditional business, network marketing, whatever it is. It's really important to know why. Because when things get hard and your customers aren't buying, or your teams aren't working, or there's been a recession and no one's buying anything, your why is what stops you from quitting. Because if you know why you started, you are less likely to quit. And that is so true. And your why could be anything. So my why, everybody pretty much knows this because I've said it a million times. I've done it on Laura's interviews and all sorts. So my why was to get out of my corporate job, because when Emily was born, I put my corporate job before her. And, that is something that I will never ever forgive myself for doing. But I will also never forgive myself if I don't make a change. So for me, that is what drives me. And that is what's driven me this entire time. And that's why I handed my notice in this year, because I got to the point where I could do that. And she is the reason. And I obviously see her every day, apart from when she's at dad's. And, she literally is the entire reason that I do it. Because, if it wasn't, not that, you probably have heard the story, but I took her into the office when she was poorly to give work to other colleagues, because it was 6:30 in the morning as well. And to give work to other colleagues because it was urgent and it couldn't wait, and clearly nobody could do it in my absence, which is a load of crap. Of course they could, but in my head I didn't think they could, because that's the kind of mentality I had with that business. And that night I got her home, obviously, after I'd done what I needed to do, and that night she ended up in hospital because she was having febrile seizures because we couldn't regulate her temperature. Now, it was down to the tonsillitis virus. I know that now. It wasn't as serious as what we thought. But at the time, I was literally devastated, devastated that I'd taken her to work, devastated that she was obviously had to be hospitalised. It was just horrendous. It was awful. She was 3. Me and David had just split up, her dad, and it was just like the worst time. And I literally vowed from that day that I would never, ever, 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 ever put that place before her or work in general. And I didn't. And I stopped working extra, and I stopped working. I stopped working for my lunch break. I literally just did my hours, went to work, and I now know that that's to my detriment, because they don't want people like that. They want people to work over and above, and silly hours and all the rest of it. And obviously, they have treated me badly since that point. But that is another story. So for me, that is painful for me. It genuinely is painful to think about it. It's genuinely painful to go over it, but I do go over it because it's important. Because if I didn't have that pain, I wouldn't do what I do with Sensei, and I genuinely wouldn't. I probably would have quit, because I don't have that drive and that passion and that, you know, that pain to stop me. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm like a dog with a bone. It's going to happen, and it did. And you know, I'm forever grateful that I get to be able to do that. And that's why your why, you need to really think about it. And you know, if your why is money, that is perfectly fine. But if you think to yourself, okay, I need 500 quid a month, that's what I need. Why do you need that? I don't know. Go on holiday. Why do you want to go on holiday? Because I didn't go on holiday as a kid. Why didn't you go on holiday as a kid? You know, I mean, you've got to keep asking why. It's not just about, well, I need 500 quid, because that is not painful enough for you to then continue. You will probably quit and think, I'll just find something else to get me 500 quid. You need to know why. You need to go as deep as you possibly can as to why you need that money, or why you need the community, or whatever reason it is that you joined. Everybody has a reason for joining. People don't just randomly join for no reason. There is always something that made you press that button, and you need to find out what that is, and then you need to work backwards, because I 100% know that if you do that, you will work harder, because that pain is there, and you will, you know, you will want to succeed for whatever reason it is. And that's really, really important. I'm opening my diary up soon, Marie, so don't worry, you can. So yeah, so your why is definitely something that you need to do. And I urge all of you, in fact, I'm going to set it as homework. I urge all of you to write your why between now and the new year. So, you know, there's other things that I'm going to set you to do as well. But the first thing is to write it down, write your why. If you already have one, that's fine, write it again. Remind yourself, it may have changed. Mine hasn't. It probably will do now, because I have quit my job. So it probably will change now. But 100% write it down, because it's really, really important. Okay. Reaching your goal. Right. I've wrote down my favourite word in the world. I'm 100% getting this tattooed. Reaching your goals takes consistency. Consistency. I fucking love that word.
I knew it was going to be that word.
It is. It's always that word. Of course it is. I'm 100%. I'm getting it tattooed. It is being tattooed somewhere on my body. And
Nice.
When I was watching Laura's Training Back, she was talking about, I can't remember who she was talking about. She was talking about somebody, and somebody quoted something. But basically, you have to do the mundane things over and over again to get success. And you have to get comfortable with doing the mundane things. And by mundane, I mean your morning post and your customer group. Like, that is something that you just do. It's not particularly exciting, but it's something that you need to do to stay consistent inside your customer group. That's what I'm talking about. That mundane thing, that, you know, when you change your wax, you need to make sure you're posting it. You know, it's something that you do without even thinking. You can't smell your wax, you change it. But how many of you take a photo every single time you do it? I don't, because I forget. Or I've run all the way upstairs to change the wax in the bedroom, 3 flipping flights, and the phone's downstairs, and I'm like, oh, can't even be bothered. But you need to get comfortable. But I know what I'm consistent with other stuff, so it's not so bad. But you need to get comfortable with doing those mundane things on a regular basis, because that is going to get you to take the action to get to your goals. Okay. I love it when I write things and I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's really good. Because I forget, I've written so many notes. Because 100%, a lot of you will write these goals, and then you look at them and go, I can't do that. I can't do that. Or no, I can't do that. And you know what? You 100% can. Each and every single person in our team is capable of anything they want to. Absolutely anything. And I know people are like, oh, whatever. But you really are, because actually the limits that you put on yourself are literally put on yourself. Like, you limit what you can do because of fear. And again, it's your brain. It's this bit of your brain here, the frontal cortex, whatever it's called. That bit of your brain is there to protect you, and is there to make you sort of safe. Ultimately, that's what your brain's job is. And when something makes you feel uncomfortable, your brain is like, no, you're not doing that. So going live, speaking to customers, going to do an event, doing a party, all that stuff that's a little bit scary, your brain knows that and like, nah, we ain't going to do that. So then you don't message people and you don't ask for parties because in your head you're thinking, nah, I'm doing that. So you really do have to try and get outside of your comfort zone and really push those boundaries and push your own limitations to actually get to that point. For such a long time, and I think actually I know I used my employer as an excuse not to go live on my profile, not to go live on my stories, and I was always a little bit scared that they were going to like discipline me for saying something I shouldn't or doing something against contract and all that sort of stuff because I work for a law firm. And when I actually sat there and did it and I went live on my stories for the first time, so I'm talking about wax. Like literally, that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about wax. And I was talking about Christmas wax. And I thought, that's got nothing to do with that. What I'm doing is assuming in my head that that's gonna happen. I'm catastrophizing the fact that they could see this flipping live out of all the people that have gone live and on Facebook that day, and then be like, Emma's gone against a contract, we need to discipline her. That's how ridiculous it is. That is how ridiculous your brain is, because that's how mine was working. And it's absolute bullshit. Complete BS, because my brain is just wanting to save me from the fact that I don't like public speaking. And that's what going live is, public speaking, because you're talking to multiple people. And that's all it is. That's all it is. My brain trying to save me from making a fool of myself by going live on my stories. And you know what? When I did it, I was like, why the hell did I wait so long? Literally, nothing bad happened. Apart from Chris trying to replay it, and I'm like, get it off. And so I was like, no, don't like listen to my own voice. So I don't watch anything back.
Can I just make a little point here, because I'm reading the chat at the same time.
Sorry, I'm reading.
And a couple of the comments coming through about people showing their faces, right? I'm currently walking around, wrong eye, with a black eye, guys. And I've still been showing my face in my customer group because that's what I do. Don't worry, I haven't been in a fight, but don't be scared. Honestly, don't be scared. Your customers are going to relate more to you by showing your face off.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. True. I'm going around with a black eye and I'm still showing my face.
She is. She actually showed the black eye. I've seen it. But no, honestly, people will resonate with you more with no makeup than with a full face looking perfect. In fact, they'll prefer it without makeup, 100%. Because 100% they're sat scrolling on their phone looking exactly the same way. So, you know, just don't be scared. Just Mel Robbins it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it done. Then it's done. It's out there. It's done. Nothing bad happened. Nobody died. Literally, I'm telling you now, nobody will die. It will be absolutely fine. So you just need to get it done. Get it done. You are
a quote about being 10% braver or something. Isn't
yeah, I think so.
I need to find that.
Yeah. But she's going to go off and find it. Right.
I
am. Question. Who out of any of you are here? All right, 3, 4 of you. Who sets goals at the beginning of each month? So who has monthly goals? I know Claire does. Donna Marie and Annie, who has monthly goals? Anyone? If it's no, just put no. Just be honest. We need to know what's going on. Stick it in the chat.
Or come off mute, guys. Feel free to speak.
Yeah, I won't buy it, I promise.
We want to hear your voices.
Goals for the first time in October and November, and I saw a massive difference in my PRV. December, I spent a lot of it ill, and now I'm like, do you know what? That was an excuse to just lie down and hide away and just, do you know what I mean? My PRV is the worst this month I've ever had, but I did see a massive difference October and November.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like,
it does,
because it's that same thing. Like, I keep talking about the brain. Like, I'm literally fascinated by the brain. But when you write something down, so at the end of this, I will want you to write big goals. No, big goals that you want by the end of the year. But actually, to get those goals, you need to look at the smaller steps. And those monthly goals are the ones that will help you get there. And it's actually better to focus on those smaller goals, because if you hit those smaller goals, you know you're going to hit the big one. So there's no point worrying about how you're going to get to that big one, because you can actually break it down first. And the monthly ones are really important, because right at the beginning of every month, on the first of every month, so I've got the Scentsy planner. And at the beginning of the Scentsy planner, and this will come in most planners, I think. Most planners will have something in there. But this is back in stock. So if you, here it is. So this is no. If you do need a planner, I would recommend it because it's amazing. So it has,
I've just ordered mine.
So it has monthly goals here. So this is January. It has, this is great because they've broken it down even further. So they've got monthly goals, but they've broke it down into week 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is just amazing. And that could be anything. That could be how many parties you want. That could be your PRV. That could be how many join conversations you want to have. It literally could be anything. So mine is how many people I want to join, my PRV, and it's going to be events and parties, because for me, that's where I get my new customers from. And it's also, and it kind of amalgamates into how many new customers that I want as well. Because I want at least 2 new customers, at least 2 new teamers, and 2,500 PRV, because I'm going for annual sales now. So that's what I write down. And the fact that I write it down means it's in here, because I wrote it down. I know that I'm not going to stop until I get those things. Don't always get there. I normally get the PRV. The new team is hit and miss. But that's because I don't necessarily focus on it. Like, my focus is always on my sales. So I need to get to a point. I know now that my goals for next year are to get to a point where I am getting those new teamers, because I want 2 every single month without fail. So I need to work on how to get to that point and balance it with the PRV and the conversations, because at the moment it's clearly not working, because I'm not getting both every month. So that's what I need to work on, and that's what I will write down. And I write down every single month without fail, because if I don't, then I'm not focusing on it. And when I got married in 2022, that season was like all over the place, because I was doing other things. We were having a loft conversion, and this is excuses, because what I should have done is sit down and actually do it. But it was crazy. So what I didn't do was sit down and do it. And that's why I had crap PRV, didn't hit any of the incentives. I was just all over the place. So I know, and just like Donna said, it actually gives you a focus, and it actually has a massive impact, because you're writing it down. So your brain is actually like, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to go get. So you're constantly then thinking of ways to get it, because you've written it down. It's like you don't want to let yourself down. You've wrote that down, and you're like, right, how am I going to get that? And when you're not quite close to it, you're like, right, where am I going to get the rest of it from? Right. And you kind of are a bit more inventive, I think, because you're kind of holding yourself accountable. And if you want to hold yourself even more accountable, tell somebody else, because that makes it even...
It's ground floor flat, isn't it? So
Definitely.
right.
So monthly goals, I would love for you to go forward into 2024 on the 1st of every month to write down your goals. And you can do this on the system as well. You can go into Workstation and you can put your PLV goal in, and then when you hit it, it gives you all confetti and makes it look all pretty, which I also love.
Love that.
I know, I do. I love it. So you can do that as well. So you don't have to just write it in your planner. You can go into Workstation and you can put your PRV goal in there as well. Okay, so that leads me on nicely with the planner. So in this planner is, and I was on it, I've just moved it. So right at the beginning, now you don't need a planner for this. You can do this in a diary. You can do it wherever you want, and you know it's on your phone. But this is what I want you to do. And this is what's in the Scentsy planner. So there's a master goals list, which is 5 goals that you want to achieve by the end of this year, 2024 even. You know what I mean. And then underneath that is a belief statement. Now, this is something that I was introduced to by Laura when I got the first planner, not last year, the year before. And I'm going to tell you, because I literally haven't opened my planner and read this since I wrote it in January. And I'm going to read to you what I wrote because I was really shocked. I literally voice noted Laura and I was like, I can't actually believe this. So I'm going to read to you what I wrote. And then I want you to go away and I want you to do the same thing. So in January 2023, I wrote, so there's 5 goals. The first one was to get back to director, done it. Second one was to hand in my notice, done it. Third one's annual sales award. I am pretty much, well, I got an email to say that I was well over halfway to making it. So that is on the cards. Consistent new teamers and new customers, which pretty much I've been doing. And then promotions within the team. And we've had quite a few of you promoted to certified. So I've had promotions within the team. They were my 5 goals in my business. And the top 2 have definitely happened. And the third one is definitely coming. But that'll be a 2024 because it's not actually finished yet. It finishes in April. And I literally looked at that and I was like, oh my God. I literally hadn't looked at that since I wrote it. But it clearly was always, I mean, handing in my notice is on my vision board. So that's clear in the back of my mind all the time. And getting back to director is something that I always knew I wanted. So it's always in the back of my mind. So writing it down has definitely helped because it's just there always in my head, like that's what I want. So my belief statement was, so this is what the belief statement says: where do you see yourself and your business going this year? Start brainstorming some ideas below. Remember, don't overthink it, just start writing. So that's, I want you to all do this. I'm going to pop a post into sort of, if you haven't got a planner, I'm going to write that in a post so you know what you got to do. So last year, mine was, I want to be happier and more positive, and I will react better to situations I can't control and see the positive in every difficult situation. I will continue to grow my business and help those that want to grow theirs. I will give more than I take and continue to work on my personal development. I won't stop until I have my director title back. That's what I wrote. And I literally read it and I was just like, I didn't remember writing that. Like, and obviously I know I did, but I didn't really remember what I'd put in it. So when I read it back and I was like, wow, like that was clearly, that getting that director title back was clearly at the forefront of my mind. And I knew getting that back would allow me to then hand my notice in as well. So it kind of worked in hand in hand. So I needed to read that to you and I needed to show you those because it just goes to show the impact that writing down your goals has on, you know, you as a person and you taking the action. So that's what I want you all to do. I want you all to write 5 master goals that you want to achieve by the end of this year. So when we're on the Zoom this time next year, I want you all to have achieved these things that you're going to write down. So, you know, really think about what it is that you want. And then I want you to write the belief statement, because I think the belief statement works hand in hand. It's sort of how, you know, how you want to be and what you want to do in order to get to those goals. And, you know, and it's with you and in business as well. It's not just about, you know, like for me, like giving more than I take is really important. Like we randomly, we were talking about blood transfusions. Honestly, the things we talk about is just ridiculous, me and my friend. So we're talking about blood transfusions and we're talking about blood. And now I'm O, and I think I'm O positive. So I'm really common. My blood type is really common and everybody can have my blood. And I said to her, I was like, that's quite like apt, because I genuinely like to give more than I take. So people can have my blood. Anyone can have my blood because I'm nice and common. Literally, honestly, it was just, we were just having a joke and it just reminded me of that.
Fantastic way of looking at it. I've never ever, because I'm the same, I'm A positive, and I've never ever thought of it in that way. I used to give blood as well. I used to donate blood.
I know I can't because I've had too many piercings and tattoos, and you have to wait so long to like have them and not have them and all.
Well, I could do it. It's just finding the time. Like, there's no local appointments near me on my days off at the moment.
No, that's rubbish. I know, if I could, I would, but I've just had my nose pierced, so I've gotten wet and I was like, God knows how long before I can do it. But yeah, honestly, I literally, and we were just laughing because Sam's really, really rare, and she has to have blood transfusions quite often because of a condition. And I was like, it's like, fine, you can have mine. And I was like, but not at the minute, I've had my nose pierced, so I'll have to find somebody else's. But honestly, it was just ridiculous. But honestly, giving more than I take, like I have given so much to my customers this Christmas. I did a 7-day giveaway where everybody won something for the full 7 days. I did top contributors, which was all 10, got a bumper sample pack. I did a birthday giveaway, like, and you know what? They genuinely loved it. And it literally made me happy inside. Like, I couldn't tell you how nice it is to genuinely give back to people. And I didn't want orders from it. Like, if nobody orders from it, nobody orders from it. I genuinely wanted to treat my customers for the support that they've given me in 2023. And it just makes you feel so much better. It honestly, like, try it. And you don't have to give physical things. You can give your time. Like, you really, you know, people always think like give more than you take means that you've got to give away products or you've got to give away money or whatever it is. You really don't. You just need to give your time. And sometimes that is worth more. And I've a few friends that have been quite isolated and quite lonely over the past few months, and actually just sitting there and talking to them is worth more to them than anything else. So, you know, give more than you take can mean more than actual physical things. So, but it definitely is something that I live by, and more so since I joined Sensei, because it is one of Sensei's ethos, and that massively drew me to the company. When I actually read what their mission statement and stuff was, I was really blown away by it, to be honest, because I just think it's amazing. So yeah, so that was my belief statement. So where are my notes? I feel like I'm all over the place again, which is not new, quite frankly. If you lived in my head, you'd be shocked.
I've been writing all my stuff while I've listened to you talk.
Multitasking. So
Definitely.
yeah, so that's what I want you to do. So I'm going to write that in a post so that you all know what you're doing, and obviously everybody that hasn't been on the training knows what they need to do. But I just think it's really important. And then what I want you to do then going forward is to write down those monthly goals. So, you know, if you want to get to lead consultant, for instance, you know what you need to get per month in terms of PRV, GWV, new teamers, that sort of thing. So they're the sorts of monthly goals that you need to be writing down to then get to your big goal, which is lead consultant. So I hope that makes sense. So I've literally just put at the top of this page, you need a clear target. Because so you need to make sure that your goals are clear and actionable, because there's no point setting a goal that you then can't work out how to get there, because what's the point in that? You're just going to be like, oh, I can't do it, and then you're just never going to do it. So make sure it is a clear goal, make sure it's something that you can reach and it's actionable. Like, my big goal is superstar director, but I know that I can't get from where I am now to superstar director by the end of this year. I need to set those small goals to get to that point. So for me, the next goal is being consistently paid a director title, because I can't do that. If I don't do that, then I can't even get to the next level. So that's what my next goal is. Even though my big, massive goal is superstar director, being paid a title as a director is more important now than that is in the future. So that's what we mean. Set clear and actionable goals. It has to be something you want to accomplish, and then you need to be able to break it down so that you can achieve it. So again, that's what we mean. So something that's really you're able to accomplish by the end of the year, and then work backwards and break that down each month so you know you can work towards it. Let's have a look. So I wrote down an example. So I, like, monthly, if you want 200 PRV, you need to be breaking that down. So that's 50 PRV a week on a 4-week month, and on a 30-day month, that's 6.6 PRV a day. Have I frozen? My internet's unstable. No, I'm all right.
No, you're okay.
So that's like roughly a wax bar a day. So if you sold a wax bar a day and probably another couple, you would literally hit active. And if you break it down like that, it's actually like, oh, actually, I could probably sell a wax bar a day. It's not that, you know, it's not that difficult. So breaking it down really just help you to sort of get it into a manageable, just in your head, making it manageable in your head, because it's really easy to feel so overwhelmed by stuff. I feel overwhelmed by stuff all the time. I felt overwhelmed on Christmas Day doing Christmas dinner. Like, I'm not even joking. I had this conversation with my friends today as well. Like, I literally went and I will talk about this openly because I think people need to know. Like, I literally went into the bathroom, locked the door, and cried because I was so overwhelmed, because Christmas is such a, like, there's such a massive expectation of pressure and stuff. And I was just like, I just had enough. I was like, the dinner was doing my head in. Like, the kids were, to be fair, the kids were actually brilliant. But I was putting pressure on myself to get the dinner perfect. And actually, it didn't really matter because kids didn't care. The kids didn't care. They're not bothered. They ain't bothered. As long as they got a hot dinner, they're not bothered. So yeah, I mean, I managed to pull myself back because I've got techniques to regulate myself now, but literally full on meltdown. So it happens to us all. Happens to us all. So yeah, don't set a goal that you know is going to make you feel too overwhelmed. And then, you know, if you do have a big goal and you do want to reach for that big goal, break it down so that you're not feeling overwhelmed by it. Okay. And when you do hit those small goals, there's little monthly goals that are going to get you to your big one. Please celebrate it. Please shout yourself out. Please tag us all in, because we want to know and we want to celebrate you as well. Because it's so important, like so important to shout yourselves out, be proud, like be super proud of yourselves, because you don't get that in any other place of work. You know, you don't, no one cares. Like, I go into a one-to-one meeting every month with my boss, and she firstly tells me the stuff that I've not done. I'm like, thanks. Honestly, it's exactly that. And you know, nobody in Scentsy cares what you've not done. We want to celebrate what you have done. You know, we want to celebrate that you went live when you knew you couldn't do it and you thought, sorry, I'm going to do it anyway. We want to celebrate that you went live on your stories. Like, I was on Coffee and Catch Up with Louise, who does it on the consultant call on a Wednesday at 12:30. So if you're around at 12:30 on a Wednesday, watch it, because Louise is amazing. And she said, what have you done to get out of your comfort zone? And I literally put it in, and I put it in. I was like, I went live on my stories. Like, I've never done it, and it's the first time, and you know, I'm really glad that I did it. And she was like, that's amazing. She was like, I'm so pleased, like, honestly. And like, everybody likes a little bit of recognition. And I was like, oh, she said, yeah, she said in my comment. And it did make me feel better. And it made me want to do it again. So 100% shout yourselves out. If you know, that's what our group is for. We encourage you to do that because we encourage you to be proud of yourselves, and that's what we want. You know, it's not arrogant. It's not, you know, you're not showing off, and you know, you're just being proud. Like, pride is really important, because you know, when your kids or your nieces or your nephews or whatever, you know, when they do something and they come to you and they're like, oh my God, look what I did. You don't sit there and go, oh, well, that's nice. You don't. You're like, oh my God, that's amazing. And that's how you need to be with yourself. Honestly, that whole thing I said at the beginning, where I said, you know, when you talk to yourself in your head and you're pretty horrible to yourself, please don't be. Please celebrate those wins. I don't care how small they are. If you're proud of yourself, get it on that group and let us celebrate with you, because honestly, it's so important, and it really will motivate you to continue, because you're getting that recognition that you literally deserve. So 100% celebrate the small wins. Oh my God, how much more notes have I got? Too many. Ugh. Right. Let me have a look, because I've said a lot of this already. Honest to God, I wrote literally so much, which is just ridiculous. Okay, so there's just a few tips on when you're writing your goals that Laura had gone through. And these are Tony Robbins tips in terms of writing goals. And Laura had gone through this, and I wrote them down because I thought actually they're quite good. So I wanted to relay them to you guys. So it's really important that when you're thinking about what goal you want, is to visualize where you want to be. So if it's a promotion, visualize yourself hitting that promotion, what your life will be like when you hit that promotion, that sort of thing. And because, and it's true, we've said this before, what you focus on, you feed. So if you're visualizing yourself as a director, for instance, then you know your brain is actually going to think about that, and your brain is going to focus on that more. So the more you visualize, the better. And then we've said this literally, like, we're not reinventing the wheel. We say this a lot. Keep yourself accountable. Tell somebody, put it in the group, tell me, tell Claire, tell, you know, somebody that you get on with in the team, tell somebody that you've met outside the team that you get on with. You know, if you've got an accountability buddy, then tell them, tell your mum, tell your sister, tell your partner, tell your husband, tell your wife, whatever. Tell somebody what it is that you're wanting to achieve, because you're more likely to stay accountable. And ask that person to keep you accountable. Get them to message you on a regular basis. Have you done it? Because you're more likely to do it if you've got somebody actually looking over you, a bit like when you're at school, but in a good way. Track your progress. There is no point setting a goal and then setting a monthly goal and then having absolutely no idea whether you've made it and getting to the last day of the month and going, oh shit, I've not made it. What do I do now? Whereas if you track your progress weekly or every other day or however often you want to track it, you will know where you are and you will know where you then need to be. I track massively now. I didn't used to, but I do now. And I work it out daily. So I know my minimum is 2000 PRV without fail. I want that extra 5%. So that is a non-negotiable for me. And I know that that is roughly 64 PRV a day. So if I've put an order in on the 1st, I will literally divide that by 64 to work out how many days I've actually made up, if that makes sense. And then I know when I roughly need to put in my next order. And that's how I track it and that's how I plan it. Because I know that I need 64 PRV a day to get 2000. And I've upped that because I want 2.5 because I need sales. So for me, I can't even remember what that figure is. But tracking is so important. And that's where I struggle remembering to track. Yeah, it's a habit. It is a habit. It's a habit that you need to get consistent with. Same with everything. And the best way, I read a really good book written by our very own Jason Harwood about habits. And that book is so good because it's really simple and it's really to the point and it's quite thin, so it doesn't take long to read, but it's all about habits. And he talks about habit stacking. So for me, my morning post is done when I drink my morning coffee because I'm always going to drink my morning coffee. That's never not going to happen. I think it's happened once when I was sick, and that was a long time ago, and I still posted because it was so ingrained in me that I still posted. But that's what I did. I made sure that I was always, so things like you always brush your teeth. Always brush your teeth. So if you wanted to add a habit to that, if you wanted to then think, I need to floss, you attach it to brushing your teeth because you're already doing that anyway. So you put the floss next to your toothbrush and it reminds you to do it. So if you're struggling to do something, try and stack it onto something else that you're already doing. You know, I don't know, like if you, I don't know, I'm trying to think what you could do if you wanted to track. Like if you once a week, if you do a specific thing once a week, you could think, right, okay, once a week, when I do this, I'm going to check my workstation and track where I am. Like, you know, just try and stack it onto something else because that will help you stick to it. And then after a few months, you'll just continue to do it anyway because it's just so ingrained. And it will just become, I was going to say human nature. That is right, I know, human nature. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Okay. I've put celebrate your successes. We already spoke about that, but that was part of Tony Robbins' training to celebrate your successes because that will help you keep going. And some people set rewards. So if they hit their monthly goal, they'll be like, right, okay, if I hit that monthly goal, I'm going to have a bottle of wine at the end of the week. I'm going to have a box of chocolates at the end of the week. I'm going to treat myself to a new bit of makeup or whatever it is. So if you set your goal for 500 PLV a month and you hit it every month, set yourself a reward at the end of the month. So, right, okay, with my payday, I'm going to buy myself this. You know, if you collect stuff, if you like expensive makeup or whatever it is, like, you know, give yourself a reward for hitting that goal because you're more likely to do it. It's a bit like the carrot and the stick. Yeah, because I've put down, you know, when you write something, you're like, what do I mean by that? I've just put helps you stay focused. So I think this means goals help you stay focused and accountable. And then Laura literally put at the end, and what she spoke about at the end was, you know, I've said this already, life is not a rehearsal. We literally got one life, not two, one, one life. And we stop ourselves from doing things because we think we do things that are expected of us. And I did this not so long ago. When I handed my notice in, I had a friend say to me, oh, we've got some jobs going at our law firm. Give me a CV and I'll hand it in. I was like, yeah, okay. And they got back to me and they wanted an informal chat. And I had a Zoom in this office with the two partners who were lovely. And they were like, we really want to invite you for a formal interview. I was like, yeah, great. Okay, I'll go for that. So I went for the interview and they were lovely. They were a lovely firm, lovely people. And my friend loves it there. And I sat there and I rang Laura and I was like, I was like, I don't know who else to say to this to, so I'm going to say it to you. And she was like, okay. I was like, I feel like I'm going for this interview and I'm doing this interview and I'm going for this job for everybody else. She was like, do you want it? I was like, no, don't. I don't want it. And I was doing it because everybody, when I said I had my notice in, everybody went, wow, what are you doing now? You're not going to get a job. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to run Sensi. But you're not getting a job? No. And literally, even Chris, and Chris, obviously, it's a big financial change in our household, and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do." And everybody was very much like, "Oh, okay." So in my head, I was like, "I need to go for this interview, and I need to, as long as I'm out of Thompson's, which is the firm I work for, as long as I'm out of there, it's okay. I'll go and get another job." But when I actually went for the interview, and when I sat there, and they said to me, "Oh, what days do you work now?" And I said Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they were like, "Oh, well, we really need someone to work on a Friday because I don't, and we need cover." And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah," as you do. And then when I was driving home, I was like, "I don't want to work a Friday." I was like, "I don't want to do that. Like, I don't." And I sat there and I was like, "I don't want to be dictated to by other people. I don't want it. I've had it for so long, and I don't want it." And I was literally doing it for everybody else. So my advice to you is go and live your life the way you want to live it, because you really do only get one. And I can't even tell you how sure it is. Like the amount of people, so I follow a lot of people now that have cancer because it gives me an insight into what my friends are dealing with, and it helps me to be able to deal with it better. And so many people that I follow have passed away and they're in their 30s. They're younger than me. They're younger than me, and they have passed away because they have cancer. And I can't even tell you the profound effect that has when you see that on a regular basis. I literally, you just can't. You can't sit and not change something if it's not working for you. Because if you don't change it, nothing will ever change. You will always feel depressed or low or annoyed or angry or whatever it is, because that thing is still happening. And I know it's, I don't mean go and jack your job in. I don't mean just go and hand your notice in and just do whatever. But take the action to get to the point where you can do that. That's the point. I knew that I needed to hand my notice in, and it's a good job that I did get to the point where I've taken the action, because actually they want to force me out. Unfortunately, they're trying to, even though I've handed my notice in, they're still trying to get me to a point where I can go sooner, which is just ridiculous. But that's another story I can't really talk about. That definitely is something I can't talk about. But so for me, I know I've made the right decision, but it took me a while to get there. And actually, had I had a little word with myself and not put limitations on myself, maybe I could have got there quicker. That is what it is. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But I just want you to know that, set the goals that you want to set, not the ones that you think I expect of you, not the ones you think Claire expects of you, not the ones that you think Laura or Heidi Norwell or Dan Orchard or whoever in Sensi expects of you, or your husband or your wife or your partner or whoever. Set the goals that you genuinely want for yourself. I don't care how small or how big they are. If they're genuinely what you want, you set them, and let's get you. I can't speak. Let's help you get to them. My God, I need to go to bed. Because it is literally the buck stops with you. This is your business. These are your decisions. This is your life. You've got to do this for you, and we're just here to help you get there. We will help you as much as you want it, but you have to want it. And as soon as you know that that's what you want, then we're there and we're cheering you on and we're helping you get to that point. So please take the time to set your goals. Please take the time to set your belief statement. And please, if you do anything this year, work on your personal development and start with this, because this book is amazing. Caroline is flipping amazing. That woman is just superwoman. She has got 5 kids. Her husband works really long hours, and that girl has got the best Sensi business ever. I'm not joking. She's amazing. So if you want a New Year's resolution, join the book club, read Girl Code, set your goals, and work towards what you want to work towards. And yeah, we'll help you do it. But that's it. I'm done. So, have you got anything to add, Claire? Oh,
Literally, you have said everything I wanted to say.
no.
No, 100% agree with everything you've said. Honestly, awesome. I love goal setting.
I know, so do I. And I've filled my I always do it on the first of January is when I do my belief statement. Just because that's what I've done since I joined Sensi, and that's like my little tradition. So I always sit down and I literally don't have my phone. I turn my phone over, it's on silent, and I literally just sit and write what I want to write. And if you've seen Claire's post and Laura's post about the word, I still haven't got my word either. It came to me last year or this year, whatever. It came to me at the beginning of 2023 quite easily, and it was growth. But this year, I don't know. I still can't think what it is.
Yeah, I also had growth for this year. And I thought of success being my word for next year, but I thought that was too vague because success can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I'm being greedy, I've picked 3 words.
Laura's got 3, I think.
That are the fundamental core words of success.
I think picking a word helps with your goals too. I think link it towards what it is that you want, and I think that massively helps as well, because it's just something that you can write down, put it in front of you, put it on your phone, and it's just something you can look back at and think, actually, yeah, that was my word, and there's a reason why I wanted that word. And it's a little bit like your why. It's sort of there just to remind you what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're wanting to achieve, really. So yeah, I haven't thought about mine yet. So it's not the be all and end all if you don't know it by the 1st of January, because I don't know what mine is. It'll probably come to me when I write my belief statement. I think that's what will probably happen, and it'll probably be in there, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's my word. So I know Katrina woke up and thought of hers. She must have dreamt it. So it could come to you at any point. But if you do anything, I think I need to choose party and get some books. Annie, you would be the best party host. I'm not kidding. You really do need to do parties, because she'd be amazing. Like, she's like the game queen, honestly. So yeah, maybe choose party. That's a good one. It doesn't have to be anything like growth or business related. Party's a great word. Genuine great word. Because actually you have party as a word, and you sit there and you're like, oh, my word's party, and in your brain you're thinking, I need to ask people for more parties. So yeah, great word. Donna, I think you just give me my word. I need growth, Sensi, and personal. Yeah, honestly, growth is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, personal development is like the best thing ever. I love it. And I literally, since I've been doing it, I've become absolutely fascinated with the human brain, like fascinated. And I've learned so much about it. I could, honestly, it's ridiculous. Like, I talk to people about it and they're like, what? Just that, I love it. It's great. So yeah, I'm always learning. I love it.
I had growth, and I've had a lot of personal growth this year.
Yeah, you have.
My personal growth has been incredible.
Yeah, massive. Absolutely massive. So yeah, it's really important. And write it down somewhere where you're going to see it every day, because it will genuinely remind you of what it is that you want and what
on
you
your phone screen. Mine's on my wallpaper on my phone. So
yeah, I need to get Emily to sort out my widgets. I don't know how to do it, and Emily's got widgets on her iPad, and I'm like, how do you do that? She's like, God, Mum, don't you know anything? I'm like, no.
I know nothing about the iPhone or iPad. I'm an Android girl.
Yeah, see, that's Chris. He has no clue. He's an Android guy, but I'm iPhone till I die. I love it. I'm never ever going to Android ever.
See, I'll never ever go to iPhone.
It's funny, isn't it? How funny is that? Oh no, Team Android. God, Annie, please tell me you've got an iPhone. I feel outnumbered.
Yes, Donna, Team Android.
Right, before we get into an argument about phones, I'm going to stop recording. How do I do that? And every time I'm like, how do I do that?